If Jimmy Kimmel is truly retiring, I'm going to be bummed, but after learning more about his reasoning, I have to admit, I'll understand. Love his show or hate his show, it's hard to deny that Jimmy Kimmel is one of the best talk show hosts currently working. After only a few years working on the radio and as a TV co-host and co-producer, Kimmel quickly got his own gig to be the late-night host of Jimmy Kimmel Live, which premiered in January 2003. It was an unusually direct path to hosting a late-night show for Kimmel. Most late-night hosts spend time as writers on television shows or as stand-up comics before taking on a hosting role, but Kimmel dove headfirst into leading a major TV network talk show. It's now the longest-running late-night talk show to ever air on ABC and has been nominated for 14 Emmys, though notably, it's never won. In January 2025, Jimmy Kimmel Live was one of the highest-rated shows among all key demographics, via Late Nighter. Despite Jimmy Kimmel's longevity and popularity, the host has occasionally mused about retiring. Jimmy Kimmel hinted that he might not renew his contract. Kimmel leaving television would be a blow. I'll be honest, I've never watched a full episode of Jimmy Kimmel Live. Late-night talk shows have never been my bag, but I've kept up to date on the hosts thanks to the power of YouTube and Instagram. I wait for popular clips to drop, then, bam, I'm right there watching. That's not to say I don't know a lot about Jimmy Kimmel. I'm a fan of his easygoing attitude in his interviews and his natural hosting ability, which has helped him remain a professional in notable hosting moments, like when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock at the 94th Oscars. I don't even find Kimmel particularly funny in the way of Conan O'Brien and John Oliver, but I appreciate his showmanship and ability to get an interesting interview out of just about anyone. Which is why I was disappointed when Kimmel first started to acknowledge his time as a TV host may be coming to an end. Kimmel said in an interview in early 2024 with the LA Times that comment suggests we won't have Jimmy Kimmel Live at some point in 2026, and that's a bummer. He's been a staple of the TV landscape, and even if he's not your cup of tea, Hollywood and pop culture have run through him. If you're interested in knowing what's going on in that world, then losing someone with their finger on that pulse is a big loss. Kimmel doesn't plan to stop working when he retires. There's a lot more Kimmel wants to do while he's still kicking. Jimmy Kimmel sitting at his desk during the talks How Jimmy Kimmel Live. It doesn't seem like Jimmy Kimmel understands what his retirement from late night would even entail. A dedicated worker, Kimmel doesn't see himself taking it easy once he does decide to retire. It seems like Kimmel's concern about retiring is not directly tied to his loyalty and love for his show. His worries stem more from what he knows about himself. Jimmy Kimmel Live airs every weeknight with few exceptions, and then there's his frequent hosting duties. This is a man who enjoys working. I don't think retiring to his home in LA and sitting in a pool is what would make Jimmy happy. He wants to do things. He wants to create and be a part of stuff. When asked about whom a future retired Jimmy would be, Kimmel responded, Kimmel is obviously being tongue-in-cheek here, but a lot of people would answer that question with, I'll be on a beach sipping Mai Tais and sleeping in every day, which is a totally enviable and reasonable position to take. Kimmel doesn't seem to be interested in that life, however. He wants to keep making, creating, and exploring his interests. The talk show host had someone close to him who didn't accomplish everything he wanted. Kimmel doesn't want to retire with any regrets, and he certainly doesn't want to die wishing he had more time to accomplish his goals and dreams. Jimmy Kimmel never wanted to be the center of attention. Jimmy Kimmel Live is filled with his family members. Jimmy Kimmel raising his hands as he hosts the Emmys. If you've watched Jimmy Kimmel Live, or just checked out the clips like me, you may have noticed that he's surrounded himself with his large, extended family from Brooklyn, putting them in key production roles on the show. Some of the best content he's put out involves his family. Check out his Cousin Mickey Scare prank series, via YouTube. It creates a unique dynamic on Jimmy Kimmel Live that truly makes it feel like a family affair. As such, it's completely understandable that he wouldn't consider himself the center of his show. This all seems to be to say that Kimmel is not particularly interested in being on television or being a star. He just particularly likes working on his show and doing hosting gigs. Kimmel's non-hosting career only consists of appearances on other talk shows, the odd hosting gig, the occasional appearance as himself on shows like Curb Your Enthusiasm, and maybe a small voice role in something like The Boss Baby. He's not the type of guy who's going to create a whole new show once he retires, and I respect him for that. The idea of retiring scares Jimmy Kimmel. Expect Kimmel to be around a while longer. Jimmy Kimmel smiling as he hosts an awards show. Jimmy Kimmel again spoke about his possible retirement a few months after his interview with the LA Times. Appearing on the Politickin with Gavin Newsom podcast in August 2024, Kimmel spoke with the governor of California and co-hosts Marshawn Lynch and Doug Hendrickson. Their conversation was wide-ranging, but when it came to what was next for Kimmel, he said,